Now let's go ahead and go through the rest of the objects. I'm going to show them as I go through. Right click, edit, and you can see that this one was done with an angle of 15 degrees. Everything else was the same as the previously set one, but I also went back in and added a connection stitch, and you can see my connection stitch is going over through the bow at the top to the end point of the previous design. Then I went down and I went over, I should say, and did the right ear with a connection stitch across the body to the left ear, or it was from the left to the right. Then I did the muzzle, or the area around the eyes. You can see I started right here at the end point of the previous ear, so there was no connection stitch necessary. I then went in and I digitized openings for each eye using the Create Fill Opening tool. Then the next step was to do the area around the mouth, which I started right here, which allowed me to have a short connection stitch. If I could have a connection stitch, which I can't have because of the eyes, you could probably get away with a little connection stitch, transform, create connection, and you will see it's right there, because what you can do is insert one more node, right click to line, and have it come right down here. It's such a short little connection stitch that no one will notice that little line right across there. So bring that up along the edge and you can have that connection. Digitize an opening for the nose and an opening for the mouth. And you can see what these two look like. There are those two sections. And carrying on, it's still with the Fill Object tool, and moving down, you can see there's the left arm started right there, so that we had another short connection stitch if we could have a connection stitch. But of course, with that hole right there, it won't work. Then we digitized the body, and the body started right here at the end point of the arm, and I had it finished down here. This is my end point. The reason for that is this is the end point of the arm, so no connection stitch was necessary. Then coming down a little bit further, we went down to this area above his paw. That's actually his knee. And there was a small connection stitch from the body to that point, a very small one. And as you go through, you can see my angles. That was 141 degrees. Then I went down and I did the paw area. There is the section starting there, and minus 115 degrees. Transform, create connection. Because of the fact I had stopped this one at the same point where I started this object, I didn't need a connection stitch. See, there's my end point right there. My start point was up there, which allowed me to have my start point right there and eliminated a connection stitch. I can't have a connection stitch over to the other object, so I wasn't too worried about it. And that had an angle of minus 125. And they all have the same parameters and the same fill 5, except for the angle. And this one had an angle of minus 120, and it started right at the end point of the previous object. Start point was there, end point was there. So all the first body parts have been digitized, and what you want to do is select them all, right click, join. And don't forget to save your design. And you can simply erase stitches, and we're back to just the outlines again.